everybody, welcome back to the shop. We got a little different video for you today. We bought another little buggy for the kids to play with when we go out to the sand dunes. Let's go check it out. Here she is. It's a pretty sweet little buggy. It's this is the front end. You can see it's got suspension. Pretty good little dirt tires on it. It's got a pretty nice suspension setup. Seats are in really good shape. Got a good little roll bar. So if they tip over, they can't roll it on top of themselves. The back tires are pretty big. They're still in pretty good shape. It's a lot of rubber. It's a 150cc engine. It's made in America. I know there's a lot of these things that are little Jap outfits, but this one here is American made, or Chinese, I mean, not Japanese. I really like this little thing. It's in pretty good shape. And we just have to do a couple of little things to it, which we're going to do in this video. It's got electric start. The key switch is right there. We've got to replace that key switch. It's got this little rinky-dink battery right here. If I put my hand over here, I can completely cover the thing with my 3 fingers. That thing is completely destroyed. It's dead. Got to replace that. I'm gonna have to build a new battery box for it there, because the battery that I got for it's more of a lawnmower battery and it's quite a bit bigger. That's just a tiny little motorcycle battery. We've got a new carburetor. My brother and I got this started. We just crossed the solenoid here with a pair of pliers. When you turn the gas on, this carburetor, this float bowl in this carb is sticking real bad. So that's got to go. I ordered a new carburetor for it. We ordered a new solenoid. So we've got the solenoid, the carburetor, a new battery, and a key switch that we're going to put on this thing. And that's kind of what this video is going to be about, is getting this little cart up and running for the kids. So that should be a good little project. So there it is, guys. I think that'll be a pretty cool little toy for my grandkids to play on. I think they'll really like it. Like I said, we've got all the stuff for it. I ordered the battery, key switch, the starter solenoid, and a new carburetor for it. And the carburetor comes with a filter and all of that. So we've got all the stuff we need to get it running properly and everything. It really doesn't need a lot of work. I mean, those are simple little fixes, and actually the stuff was pretty cheap. I think the most expensive part that I paid for was the battery. I think it was around $70, but the carburetor was like 34 bucks. The solenoid was like 8 bucks. The key switch was like $6 or something, I think. I mean, most of these parts are pretty cheap. The belt I ordered for it, it hasn't come in yet, but this belt works. It still goes, but I thought, why not get a new belt? You know, it's belt drive. It's got that belt drive transmission, and then goes to the chain and sprocket. So I figured, why not buy a new belt while I'm at it and have it here. We'll see how good a shape this one's in, but the main thing for right now is we want to get it running, get a battery box built. Like I said, my brother and I had it running. You turn the gas on, as soon as that float bowl filled up, it would start pouring out. So we'd have to turn the gas back off. But then we'd go ahead and we jumped it with the jumper cables, because the start feature on the charger just doesn't put out enough amperage. We tried that and it didn't work, so we just jumped it off of a full battery with the jumper cables, and it fired right up. So it had a brake switch, safety switch thing on the master cylinder for the brakes, and if you really pumped the brakes up hard and pushed on it really hard, you could get juice to the back. Because it has this safety feature, you have to have your foot on the brake to be able to start it. And we just bypassed that. We just cut those wires and wired them together and bypassed that. So you don't have to, because the brakes work fine, but it's not, you can't leave it in gear because it doesn't have any gears. It's like a snowmobile. It's belt and chain driven. So, you know, if you start it and just let it idle, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to throttle it up to put any power to the rear end. So unlike something that has a standard transmission in it, if it's in gear and you turn it over, it takes off the minute you turn that key. It starts rolling. The starter will start rolling. So that wasn't that important. So we just bypassed that, and that's just a bunch of headache, you know. The guy I bought it from said if you bleed the brakes out really good and pump them up really solid, that the key switch would work fine. With it, when you push the brake, it would start. He said they took it out to the dunes the last time they took it out. They were out there, he said, for just a little while, and it stopped working again. So I thought, we're not going to play with that headache. We'll just bypass it. So let's get on with making this battery. I don't really think it's going to be a box, but it's just going to be some angle iron that we can mount the battery in, because that little holder on that thing, the holder that's on there is actually too small for the little battery that's in there. So we're going to make a bigger battery mount, I guess is what you'd call it, where we can mount the battery and strap it down real good and get this thing fired up and going, have some fun. Well, there it is, guys. We got it off the trailer. You can get a little better feel for its size. Sitting on that trailer, there really wasn't anything to compare it to. I think it looked bigger on the trailer than what it really is. So there it is, sitting on the ground by the trash cans and that. Alright guys, it's tomorrow. I did the opening video to this, video yesterday afternoon late, and it just got too late to get going on this with all we had to do. So here's the little battery that came out of this thing. You can see there's not much there, and it was sitting right down in here, and it didn't even fit the bracket that was there for the battery. The battery that originally came in this is even smaller than this. You can see how this doesn't sit square down in there. It sits up on the lip that the other battery should have sat inside of. So anyway, this is junk anyway. It's just worn out. It's been dead for too long. It's got dead cells and it's not going to work. So we got this battery. Now this is more of along the lines of a lawnmower battery, but you can see what a tight spot that is down in there, and that whole motor and rear axle and all is on a swing arm, so it's going to go like this. And if we try to stuff this bigger battery in there, there's a good chance that it could you know, hit something or whatever. It's just a tight spot. We're going to put it up here, right over here. I've checked the cables, they'll fit, they'll go. So I'm going to cut a piece of angle iron, a couple of pieces of angle iron. We'll build a little box around this bottom, and then we'll strap it over the top, just like you would put in a car. So that's the agenda for today. My brother is wiring up a new starter solenoid right now. He's going to put the new carburetor on. We'll get rid of that goofy, get rid of this goofy air filter setup that they've got on here. And we'll probably get rid of this air box out of the way. This is the original air box, and they've modified it and put this, all they did was took this air intake here, it was twisted over here into here, and they just turned it up, added this piece of pipe, and put this makeshift breather on the top of it. But we've got a nice little K&N filter that came with the carburetor. As you can see, and that gets rid of all of that mess up there. We've got to get a sock to put over this, and we'll probably oil this because it's just wire mesh from what it looks like. I mean, I think there's a little bit of paper in there, but you can see right through this thing, and I don't want to get a bunch of dirt in our carburetor, so we'll put a sock over that, but that'll negate all that stuff we've got piled up there. And then we've got a new key switch. The other one, when you would, you'd turn it on, and when you would turn it over to start, it would stick there. That can cause problems. You could screw up the starter if it hangs up. And if it was just me or my brother or whatever driving it, we'd know to just turn it back. But you get the kids in there and they'll turn it and leave it, and the starter's grinding away and that. So for $8 or whatever that was, we decided we'd throw a new key switch in it. And along with the carburetor, we got a new fuel filter. That goes right in here. Here's the old filter. The new filter goes right there. So that's what we got going. Let's get to work on this battery carrier. Alright guys, so we got the cart running. Got the battery in it. Got the new carb on it. Air cleaner. Took the old air box off. Cleaned up that back a little. And I promised my brother he could have first run when we got it going, so he's getting ready to go see if it'll even go anywhere. Yeah, looks like it's moving. The back sticks out further, dude. Yeah. Push it. It's not running very good, guys. Now it's starting to open up a little better. We've been having a problem with these carburetors trying to get pull it up in there where it was. Easier to get at. Your lights are blinking on and off too. The headlights. So maybe the charging system's not fully charging. Can't floor it going up this hill. It'll start popping. You've got to kind of let out a bit a little, get the feel where you can run it. That carburetor still screwed up, but it does go. Yeah, once we get that adjusted, it'll be fine. I'll get that figured out. That should be easy compared to everything else we've been through. afternoon, we played around with the little cart over here. Got the new carburetor on it. We fought and fought and fought trying to get this thing to run right with that new carburetor. Found out that the gas lines were turned around. Turned them around where they should be. They quit flooding gas out of the carburetor. But we still had all kinds of trouble. But I'm happy to say we finally got it running. And we drove it up and down the road out here in the street a couple of times, checking it out, and it wasn't running right. It was like it was missing and backfiring a little bit. That sometimes would run really well, but you couldn't really give it as much throttle as you should. We kept thinking there was a gas problem, and the last time I drove it to the top of the hill and held it wide open and never sputtered. It ran great all the way up the street to the top of the street. Right at the top of the street, it sputtered and backfired a little bit, and I turned it around. As I was coming back down, it ran again, wide open, no sputtering or backfiring. It was wide open, and then it was just like somebody turned the key off. And we haven't been able to get it started since. So we're figuring it needs a new coil, because while we were trying to work on it today, we would have it idling, sitting right here in the doorway of the shop, and it would sputter and pop, and then all of a sudden it'd run real good for a minute, then it would sputter and pop. And we were thinking it was a fuel issue, but apparently it wasn't. The coil either went bad, or it's got a bad magneto. I don't believe it has. Excuse me. I don't believe it has a stator on it. I think it's a magneto, because when you're driving it, as you give it more throttle, the lights brighten up. Then as you let off the throttle, the lights dim down, which says that the lights are just running solely off of the magneto, and the battery is only there for starting it. So once it's running, it's kind of like a dirt bike. It just runs off the magneto. So anyway, we're going to order a new magneto, new coil, and we should have this thing screaming in no time. So thanks for being here, everybody. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. I'll leave a little button right down here, little round picture of me right there, and you can click on that to go to my channel and subscribe. And please hit that like button if you would. That helps me out, helps me recommend my videos that much more. I really appreciate y'all watching. To all my subscribers, love you guys. It's great to have you on board. Always be safe when you're messing around in your shop, guys. Be careful when you're doing. You saw me today, man. I had my grinding hood on, and when I was cutting and grinding and what have you over there, and we got our battery box welded in. It's nice and tight. We still need to strap it down. We'll get that done. But all in all, it runs. It works good. Just a couple of little issues, and we're going to straighten up that front end too. We may do that in another video next weekend. I wanted to go to the dunes, but I have to order parts for this, so I don't think we'll make it next weekend. Might have to put it off for another week, maybe two, but we will get these things out to the dunes one more time before the snow flies. So thanks for watching again, guys, and be careful in your shop. Like I said, we'll see you on the next one.